we are going to talk about how to find the y-intercept of graphs as well as write the equation of the graph, since we already know how to find the slope of the graph. So we're going to go through our guided notes and you're going to fill in as you watch your video. The y-intercept is the point of the line that crosses the y-axis of the coordinate plane. Remember that the y-axis is the vertical axis, and that goes up and down. The y-intercept is also the b in slope-intercept form, which remember is y equals mx plus b. Anytime you see a line that's in y equals mx plus b form, it is linear. You can also write a y-intercept as an ordered pair. Remember that an ordered pair is x comma y. In the y-intercept, it'll always have a x value of 0. It'll always have an x value of 0. Okay, so we're going to write it both ways and write the equation on our 6 examples. Okay, so if we look at example 1, we want to determine where it crosses the y-axis. It crosses the y-axis through the origin. Even though it doesn't extend, we know that a line extends on both ends. So our y-intercept is 0, so we put a 0 next to b. We can write it as an ordered pair as 0 comma 0. Your x value is always 0, and you put your y-intercept, which is 0. Now we need to find our slope so we can write our equation. Again, you have to use 2 perfect points. Remember, it's rise over run. If we look at how this graph is counting, it's counting by 1/2 because we have 1/2 1. So my rise is 1, my run is 1, 2. So my slope is a positive 1/2 since my line is going up. So when I write my equation, we have y equals 1/2 x plus 0, because remember it's y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. You could also write it as y equals 1/2 x, since the y-intercept is a 0. Looking at number 2, we cross the y-axis at 20, so my y-intercept is 20. We can write that as 0 comma 20. Your slope, remember, 2 perfect points. It rises 2, 4, 6, 8, and this is counting by 10, so it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So we have 8 over 60, which we can simplify to 4 over 30, which we can simplify to 2/15. So when we write our equation, we have y equals 2/15 x plus 20. This is a positive slope, so this is positive 2/15. This is a positive y-intercept, so we put plus 20. Example 3. My y-intercept is 24, so we can write that as 0, 24. Now we need to find our slope. My y-axis is counting by 1.5, so every other line is worth 3. So I have 3, 6 as my numerator, as my rise, over, this is counting by half, so we have 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. So I have 6 over 4, which can simplify to 3 over 2. But my line is decreasing, so my slope is going to be negative 3/2. So when I write my equation, we have y equals negative 3 over 2x. We have a positive y-intercept, so it's going to be plus 24. Looking at example 4. My y-intercept is 1. So I can write my ordered pair for my y-coordinate as 0, 1. If we find our slope, my rise is 1, 2. My slope, or my run, is 1, 2, 3. So my slope is 2 over 3. When we write our equation, we have y equals 2/3 x plus 1. Example 5. My y-intercept is -12. So I can write that as 0, -12. And we need to find our slope. It's rise over run. So if we look at this, we're counting by threes. So we have 3, 6, 9, 12. This is counting by ones. 1, 2, 3. So we have 12 over 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. My line is going up, so we're going to have a positive slope. When I write my equation, I have y equals negative, oops, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Y equals 4x minus 12. And we have our last example. My y-intercept is 0, so we can write that as 0, 0. And I don't have a second perfect point. So remember, when we're finding the slope, we want to find perfect points where the corners meet on the line. So this is not a perfect point because, yes, this meets at the corner, but it's not on my line. So we could have perfect point here, perfect point here, a perfect point here, a perfect point here, and a perfect point here. It does not matter which 2 points that you use. So let's say I decide to use these two. This is counting by 1, so I have a run of 1, 2. These are counting by 3, so I have 3, 6. My rise over run, 6 over 2 is 3. My line is decreasing, so my slope is going to be negative. When I write my equation, I have y equals negative 3x plus 0, or you can write it as y equals negative 3